We said it was impossible. We told them it was impossible. Everyone knew it was impossible. Except for the humans. They proved that it was and is possible. The enemy was known by many names and titles. The Swarm, the Ever-Hungry, the Unending Pit, and so many more. But all knew them by their most basic of titles. The Enemy. All races have at one point in their history thrown back the enemy, but not without help from an outside source. Another species interfered, their combined forces pushing back the enemy. A solar flare disrupting their communication suites, long enough to the perceived species to throw back the enemy. A rogue planet or black hole pulling the enemy, pulling them out of their mode of FTL before they arrived at their intended location, allowing for them to be ambushed. The enemy turning on itself due to its hunger. And so many other sources. But one thing always held true. No race could defeat the enemy on its own. Help was always required to defeat them. But the humans, when the humans were first attacked by the enemy, they proved us wrong. They were attacked like nothing the galactic community had ever seen. Fleets upon fleets of unending, undulating, teeth and eye-filled abominations rampaged through the Terran Confederacy, whole systems going dark before anyone knew what was going on. By the time the members of the galactic community had realized that it was another incursion by the enemy, a full third of the Terran Confederacy's territory had been overrun and consumed. When we came to the Terrans offering aid, they refused us. When we asked them why, they condemned us. We had thought that with the advanced sensors and scouting fleets we had monitoring the galaxy, that we would have advance warning. Believing this, we had chosen not to tell any new inducted member of the Galactic Union, in this case the humans. All information about the enemy was censored, as to not harm the children of any species, with only the highest ranking officials being given access to it. As the human saying goes, in hindsight, this was a mistake. The humans were incensed that such information had been kept from them. They raged that more of their people would still be alive if they had been told of this threat earlier. Now they could have saved more and held back the enemy longer if they had been told sooner. Our diplomats tried to placate the humans with offers of military, financial and material aid, but they were declined each time. The humans proudly stated that they did not need the help of those that would hide such a threat from them, that they would do it themselves. When one diplomat, a Centrani diplomat, stated, "No species can stand against and defeat the Ever-Hungry on their own. It is impossible." The human diplomat that had met the diplomatic delegation simply stated, "A famous human actress from our past once said that, 'Nothing is impossible. The word itself says I'm possible.' We will prove her words right. Now get out, and only return when we tell you to. If you interfere, you will be fired upon. We will not indebt ourselves to a body that purposefully lied to us. Lying by omission is still lying." With that, the Union diplomats were escorted off of Sol Free and out of the Terran Confederacy. All that we were left with were monitoring stations placed near the Confederacy's border. All we could do was wait and prepare. It was discovered that, even as talks broke down, the humans had been preparing. Massive battle stations bristled with weapon emplacements. Hundreds of batteries of the infamous Terran the Beast, Sea-Whiz, dotted the hulls of their spacecrafts, each battery containing 6 turrets, with each mounting 6 100mm 6-barreled rotary cannons. Their deadly Hydra missile systems filled what space wasn't covered by the Beast Sea-Whiz. The main weapon of every Terran Confederacy warship was the railgun, a weapon system seen as antiquated by many within the Union. The humans found a way to improve it, utilizing the excess heat and electricity to constantly power their shields and the cooling systems of the main gun. This allowed the humans to fire their railguns far faster than any Union antimatter cannon, allowing them to engage the enemy faster and at longer ranges, so long as their ammunition held. Instead of fighter craft crewed by individual pilots, the humans sought to match the swarm with a swarm of their own. Innumerable clouds of drone fighters were seen to spill forth from every carrier, every battle station, every planet, with hundreds of thousands, if not millions, being controlled and directed by a single human. This was not to say that humans abandoned their own piloted craft. With the attacking and primary interception duties seemingly being handed over to the drone fighters, human pilots were tasked with solely defending the immediate area around human spacecrafts. Their concentrated numbers, in coordination with the seaways of the nearby craft, seemed to make a difference. By the end of the second year of the incursion, the enemy seemed to have been stymied. Though human losses appeared to be high, none in the Union could confirm how many the humans lost in that exact time frame. But then the unexpected happened. The Terran Confederacy counterattacked. It took them another year of preparation, but by the third year they were ready. Hundreds of thousands of ships poured into the enemy's territory. The enemy fleets were completely destroyed, with every piece of wreckage being tossed into the nearest star. Every planet they held was bombed into oblivion. Thermobaric bombs, modified to work in any atmosphere, tore apart any enemy force or fortification. Where this wasn't enough, where the enemy was found to be too entrenched, the Confederacy subjugated these worlds to what one human jokingly called exterminatus. Two-stage planet-cracking bombs were dropped on such planets, the first stage burning the atmosphere and anything that was in contact with it, the second stage cracking the planet into innumerable chunks. By the end of the third year, humanity and their seemingly endless drone ships had pushed the enemy back to what our records had indicated was their system of origin. No fleet in recorded galactic history had ever reached this system, and if any had, they did not live long enough to tell of it. At this point, the rest of the Union were, as the humans say, frothing at the mouth, eager to join the humans in their successful counterattack, to pay back the enemy for all the misery that they had caused. The humans still refused their help. One human admiral stated, "I see no reason to include you into our battle plans. You would only be adding a variable we do not need." A human general simply stated, "Fuck off, you cunts," whatever that means. This eagerness soon turned to demands. Every member species of the Galactic Union had been harmed by the enemy, and every member species believed that they deserved the chance for revenge. The humans still refused them. Then the Union made another mistake. A small and radical section of the Union, comprised mainly of the more violently inclined species, attacked several Confederacy worlds that bordered the Galactic Union as retaliation for not allowing them to join in the war against the enemy. They warned that if the Union was not allowed to participate, they would raise more worlds until they were able to participate. Then another impossibility occurred. As far as our observation stations and ships could tell, the war between the enemy and the Terran Confederacy ground to a halt, seemingly overnight. Not even a cycle later, all Union observation ships and stations were destroyed. The planets that the traitor faction, as they are now called, had conquered, were swiftly reconquered. The only message that the Union received before the last world was reclaimed still haunts many to this day. "The enemy and the humans, they have allied! The message had cut out before the speaker could finish, the sounds of human railguns and the enemy's feeding frenzy evident before it abruptly stopped. We had thought that defeating the enemy on your own was impossible. We were proven wrong. We had thought that no species would ever ally itself with the enemy. We were proven wrong. As reports of a swarm human fleets entering Galactic Union space came in, while seemingly falling almost as soon as they were attacked, I watched one of the few pieces of human media I was able to gain access to before this conflict. A young woman was giving an interview, when suddenly I discovered the origin of the phrase uttered by that one human diplomat from a time that seems so long ago now. Nothing is impossible. The word itself says I'm possible. Audrey Hepburn, 1967. Indeed, Miss Hepburn. Indeed, muttered High Chancellor Gorak, leader of the Galactic Union, as sirens and alarms blared in the distance. Weapons emplacements opened up, and explosions rattled his office as swarming human ships descended onto the planet.